Like, you feel me? Like, I'm just talking to myself like, damn, I can't go no more. But my homeboy in the house, I just hope somebody come get him. Somebody gotta come get my homeboy. I gotta make sure he good. I got to. So.
You even came to me and asked for forgiveness. At that time, I didn't know why you was asking me for forgiveness, because I didn't think you had nothing to do with it. But now, 4 years later, and you doing this video, now I know why you came to me and asked for forgiveness, because you knew you had something to do with it.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now, without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, they say it's 3 sides to every story: your side, my side, and then there's the truth. Sometimes when you only hear one side of the story, it's easy for people to lean towards that side being the truth because there's nothing else to believe because you've only been told that one side. However, whenever you hear the other, it forces you to really start paying attention to the first story and pick out certain things that kinda didn't make sense to you, but maybe you thought you was just tripping. Until you hear the story from a different angle, and now you're saying to yourself, okay, that's why I felt such and such didn't make sense. And that's sort of the case here with this situation we'll be talking about today. Now, if y'all been tuned in, we reacted to a story time done by a guy by the name of Qumontae, where he's detailing the time he was set up by a girl and shot almost 4 years ago, where he almost lost his life. But it's deeper than that, because on that same day, he had just left his other homeboy's funeral, and in the midst of being set up by the girl that he thought he knew, his other homeboy that he shared an apartment with would end up getting shot 6 times in the chest while he was asleep and passing away. Now, if y'all remember, throughout that video, I mentioned a few things that didn't make sense to me before, but once again, he was the one telling the story, so all we had to go off of was his version of the story. The part where he kept mentioning that he kept asking about his friend that he was sleeping, it was kind of a little weird. The reason why is because throughout the whole story time, he made it his business to let us know that he kept on asking about this friend. He goes as far as saying that even when he was shot and bleeding out, he kept asking for his friend, and even stated that when he was being taken out on a stretcher, the first thing he told the ambulance was for them to leave him alone because he's breathing and go check on his friend. Now, I'm not saying that it didn't happen and he wasn't genuinely concerned, but it was just weird hearing that he was just shot on the brink of losing his life, but still, all while everything was happening, the only thing he was thinking about was his friend. Now, I even told y'all that it seems like he has some type of guilt behind the story whenever he mentioned his friend, because maybe he feels that his friend is no longer here because of him. And of course, trying to explain that to someone's family is almost impossible because of course, they're going to blame you. Now, another thing that was a little off to me was the fact that this happened 4 years ago, but for some reason now, he thought to speak on the details in a story time on TikTok. Now, lo and behold, as I browsed through Qumontae's Instagram, he was reposting the posts people were putting up because he was going viral, including the people he knew who was also close to the situation. And I forgot to screenshot it, but judging from the repost, this is a matter that had a lot of people questioning him because some people feel that it may have been foul play involved. There was even another girl that was there that people thought was involved in setting them up as well, but according to Qumontae, she just so happened to be there because of the funeral and luckily left right before everything happened. But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get into the video of the mother of the friend that was shot 6 times in the chest, the one that was asleep, because apparently his family have a different story and feel a different way behind everything that transpired. And when y'all hear what she has to say as far as a mother, it puts a whole different narrative to the story we originally heard, which is kind of crazy, but you got to take it with a grain of salt because we know that she's talking from a parent's point of view and not the streets. So we're going to play the video, but before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
Facebook family, y'all know y'all don't see me up here very often, but I'm coming live today to counteract, to do some correction to a live that went viral yesterday concerning my son KJ. Qumontae, for 4 years now, you have lied to me about my son. I have asked you, you came to me, to Charlotte, to tell me, to ask me for forgiveness about my son's death because you knew then that you knew who killed him and wouldn't say nothing. But yet now, 4 years later, you trying to profit off of my son's death when all the time it was your fault why he got killed. They wasn't after my child, they was after you. You knew they was coming for you, and you knew my son was a protector. And you figured if my son was there with you, he would protect you. But I thank God that he was asleep. He did not suffer. But you suffered. And you are still suffering right to this day. That's why you're doing the live trying to gain money, because you are a conniving, sneaking, dishonest individual. A child that my son took under his wing when nobody else would give you a chance, when nobody in Lakeland High School in Suffolk liked you, when you was going to the alternative school because of your behavior. My son was the only one who came to you, took you under his wing as his little brother, and I invited you to go places with him, to hang out with him. And you know what I'm talking about, because that's when he had a black BMW. See, my son didn't start off with nothing. He always started out with something of his own. You are the one with a leech onto my son. Then you had to have a nerve to say, oh, he was a big boy and he slept, he fell asleep because he had narcolepsy. You couldn't even say the damn word. Lord, forgive my mouth. But you couldn't even say the word. My son didn't have no sickness, no sleeping disorder. God allowed him to be asleep so he wouldn't have to suffer of what was going to happen. And why I questioned, Lord, the God of mine, for many years of why he took my child and not you. I questioned it, but I came to realization my child was ready. My child was saved. He may not have walked the walk like everybody else expected him to, but I know what he was. He was a good individual who loved everybody, who never, ever met a stranger. And everybody that has come to me, has talked to me, has blown my phone up since you went live with that foolishness, has blown, my phone has not stopped ringing. But you gonna get on live and try to gain money from my sons that you knew 4 years ago what had happened. And you chose to tell the detective you didn't know nothing. You even came to me and asked for forgiveness. At that time, I didn't know why you was asking me for forgiveness, because I didn't think you had nothing to do with it. But now, 4 years later, and you doing this video, now I know why you came to me and asked for forgiveness, because you knew you had something to do with it. But that's okay. Your time is coming. Your time is coming for everybody that believe that foolishness that you put out there, that you were set up, that you could see things, you had an out-of-body experience. That's a bunch of bull. The way you was shot up, you couldn't move. You couldn't check on my child. Ain't nobody in no hospital told you that he was downstairs. My son was killed on the exact time that he came into this world. At 12:58 a.m. in the morning. You didn't even know my son was dead. But God made you suffer. And guess what? You're going to continue to suffer. Because instead of doing right, you still trying to do wrong and connive and scheme and get over on people. You've made it. One time you had even told somebody, my son was homeless. My son was never homeless. My son stayed right here and suffered with my mother. And then he came to Charlotte. And whenever he wanted to come to Charlotte. I talked to you 2 days prior to my son's death on the phone because he called me just to shoot the jive with me and told me where he was at your house. I even spoke with you, and then you gonna lie to my face 4 years ago that you don't know what happened to my son, leaving me with unsolved solutions, trying to figure out what happened, who did what, why they did stuff to my son, why they killed my son. Somebody that everybody loved, that loved everybody and never met a stranger, was friendly and kind to everybody. But you, on the other hand, was conniving and sneaking, want nothing but a leech on everybody. It was because of KJ. You got up, you came up because of KJ. Not nothing of your own. It was because of KJ and the people he knew and the connections he had here in Virginia and in Charlotte. But one thing about it, all KJ true friends came to my house every time he came to Charlotte. And guess what? You was never part of that because you was not his true friend. He tried to be friends with you. They tried to be friends with you, but they did not like you. And they still don't like you. So go on. Keep trying to build off my son's death. You trying to pull yourself up because of my son's death? Really? All the fools out there that believe that bull that you put out there? Y'all keep going, because all of y'all gonna be in the same basket together. My son was a good child, a loving child, a great child. He will always be missed. He had so many friends that always kept in contact with me ever since his death. But you call yourself a friend, or he was your homeboy? Not once since you came and lied in my face have you checked on me, or his brothers, or his niece, whom he loved dearly. If you know anything about KJ, you knew he loved his niece Shania dearly. That was just like his baby sister and his niece all in one. But you not once checked on her. But you call yourself his homeboy. I was sad up and my homeboy died. No, you knew what you was doing. You set your own self up with your mouth and bragging about all the conniving schemes you had did to people, and all that stuff came back at you. See, your dirt will find you out. I don't care how much you hide, how much you run, your dirt will always find you out. I couldn't even get mad, and I watched all of your videos telling lies about my son, telling lies about that night. Some of it was lies and some of it was true, because you know who killed my son. You seen their faces before you got shot. So you know, but you keep telling me and the detective that you don't know. But Qumontae, you signed your own death certificate when you went live. You signed it yourself. I'm not going to touch it because I leave you in the hands of the Lord. Because the word said, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. You going to get yours. And you going to wish you had never been born.
Alright, there you have it, y'all. So basically, she's stating that Qumontae lied to her. He knows what happened to her son, who actually did it, but he refused to say anything. She also mentions that he's trying to monetize off what happened and make money basically off the pain of losing her child. She said it's his fault her son is no longer here, but let me say this, y'all. As a parent, especially a mother, she's talking from a place of hurt, and I get it. But she also did admit that her son may have been doing what he was doing in the streets as well. So at the end of the day, she gotta understand that when you in them streets, play by street rules. One of the most important rules of them all, and numero uno, is you don't snitch. So she's saying that Qumontae knows who did something to her son, but refused to say anything. However, street politics come into play because, as y'all know, you're never supposed to cooperate with the law when it comes to street business. Now, of course, she's not looking at it from that point of view because she's a mother. She don't care about the streets. All she care about is justice for her son. And it's understandable, but like I said, that's what comes with that lifestyle. Now, what I did find crazy is that she also mentioned that her son KJ was actually unalive at the same time he came into this world, which was 12:58 a.m., which is crazy. For y'all that don't understand how divine timing work and spirituality, this is a prime example of it. We don't know why higher power does what he does, but it's a lot of things that occurred that night that's unexplainable and you can't fathom it because everything happens for a reason, whether we know the reason or not. What's the odds that he passed away the same exact time he was born? And how ironic it is that both of them were shot, but somehow the person who it was intended for actually lived, while the other person who was even asleep and had nothing to do with anything passes away. Crazy. Now, as far as how he passed away, I can't lie, it is a little weird. And I wasn't there, nor do I have any inside information, but I'm just speaking from the outside looking in. How is it that he was asleep and inside the house, but managed to get shot 6 times point blank in the chest? I didn't get that part, and maybe one of y'all could fill me in, but if he was asleep and didn't pose any threat, why was he shot so many times, especially directly in his chest? Did the bullets just so happen to go through the walls or something? Maybe they were just that good of a shooter to shoot from long distance and shoot him in the chest. I don't know, right? Once again, I don't know too many people that's gonna come and just randomly shoot and unalive someone that's sleeping, especially if they originally came for money. It's not like they came to go on a hit and take somebody's life. They originally came for money. So nobody's trying to catch a body that they don't necessarily have to catch, right? Now I'll leave that for y'all to make sense of it in the comments, and maybe y'all could let me know. Also, KJ's mom mentioned that Qumontae had something to do with it. I don't know what she meant by that. She also said that her son didn't have no sleeping disorder, nor was he a narcoleptic, and says that Qumontae is conniving, and that's why the setup happened to him in the first place. And you know what's funny? Everyone was in the comments. They were feeling sorry for him, as if he was just a good dude who got set up by a girl. But the mother is saying that he done did so much conniving, slimy stuff that it was just his karma catching up to him. So basically, he ain't innocent. It may have happened because he done did so much dirt to others that it finally caught up to him. And sometimes that's how it goes. When you out here doing foul play, it has a way of coming back to you. It just is what it is. But everybody know that. It's just karmic law. If you out here doing foul stuff or anything, eventually, whether it's today, tomorrow, or even years from now, it's going to catch up. That's just, the way the universe works. It just so happened, unfortunately, someone ended up being a victim of it while Qumontae lives to tell the story. Right? Now, y'all jump in the comments and let me know what y'all think about this. This was a little update that I felt made sense to speak on, to give two sides to a story, being that it went viral. If you lost about all of this and what's going on, I'll leave a link pinned to the previous video in the comments so y'all can, pretty much get caught up on what's going on. As for now, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.